Hello there, dreamers. This is where I attempt to interpret my dream, where the work is done. If you have not seen my performance of the Blue Boy, I highly recommend you watch it before we delve into this interpretation. But to summarise this big dream, I find myself in a dishevelled room with a male and a female whose faces are obscured. Together, we are confronted by rats and a lizard. A lizard who seems to transform into a blue boy made out of water. Raw emotions consume me as I sit with the boy, his chilling smile inviting me to begin illuminating self, confronting my shadow within. Now for the interpretation. Firstly, I have to admit I am somewhat overwhelmed by this dream. This was the first ever dream I documented over 15 years ago in my early 20s. It has a great deal of archetypal and alchemical symbolism, so please bear with me as I delve into this dream, pushing myself in an attempt to grasp its meaning. It is also interesting to note the reoccurrence of 3 throughout the dream. 3 often signifies the union of 2 opposing elements by a third, which serves as a mediator or transcendent force, representing an ongoing process of synthesis and unification of various aspects of the psyche. Finding myself in a dark, depleted, bare room that is in ruin establishes a setting that is messy and depressing, mirroring my state of emotional depletion at the time, having relied heavily on neglecting and repressing a great many things from my childhood into early adulthood. Difficulty in recognising the faces of the male and the female in the room with me may suggest a lack of clear identity or disconnection from my true self, indicating the presence of unconscious dualistic aspects that have not yet fully been integrated into my conscious awareness. Carrying the weapon-like objects provided us with protection in the dream. It was like the dream ego knew it was going to be confronted and challenged, thus wanting to cling to something to give a sense of security and comfort. The deathly apprehension before the emanation of the rat's tail gives weight to the significance of its appearing. It being in the roof shows it breaking through the threshold between the conscious and unconscious mind, warranting extra attention. Rats are scavengers, rodents who scurry around in the darkness, symbolising shadow content that has been prolific for far too long. Having the shadow content finally reveal itself brings on a great sense of relief. The tension is released as it is finally being brought to light for the first time. The rapid emergence of the second rat's tail makes me feel that there is an engorgement of festering content eager to spill out. But for the time being, my attention is drawn back to my companions, who have caught a lizard. My feeling is that the lizard is in fact the rat transforming from the scavenger to the archetypal dragon, embodying primordial and instinctual forces from within the human psyche. Dragons are a symbol of the union of opposites, representing the integration of conflicting aspects of the self, combining contrasting elements like fire and water, heaven and earth, or good and evil, suggesting the need for me to reconcile polarities and achieve psychological wholeness. Catching the lizard makes it seem as if a part of myself is trying to contain its power. Yet the 3 clear containers makes me feel that there is a willingness, or at least a readiness, to explore and understand the contents of my unconscious, albeit with the protection of 3 layers of defense. Obviously, the lizard is not pleased at being caught, with its glaring, radiating, piercing eyes that stir something deep within me. Empathy pains me as I watch on, feeling helpless to intervene. Clearly, this highlights my lack of ability to harness my own power. Freezing at the disturbing scratching sound heralds a pivotal shift in the dream. Upon reflection, I feel this is the lizard violently escaping from the containers, undergoing yet another transformation. As I gaze into the huge window before me, all I see is a flat blackness. Windows can be seen as thresholds or points of transition, and the blackness, the unknown, the unconscious. It seems to represent a passage from one state of being to another, or from one phase of life to the next, bringing light and understanding to the hidden aspects of my psyche. Now the blue boy. Having now sat with this dream for quite a substantial amount of time, it seems clear to me that the blue boy is the lizard transmuted to human form, therefore undergoing an archetypal transformation, an integration of instinctual, unconscious energies into more conscious and human qualities. His blue, radiating colour emits calmness, tranquility, spirituality, and an ocean-like depth. Instinctively, I try to reject the boy by flinging my weapon-like object at him, rejecting the unconscious parts of myself, terrified what they may hold, what darkness and pain may be lurking within. But the boy is made out of water, a conjunctio. In alchemical texts, the conjunctio is referred to the union of two substances, represented by symbols like the sun, masculine, and the moon, feminine, or perhaps in this case, the rat and the lizard. This union of opposites was seen as a transformative process that leads to the creation of the Philosopher's Stone, a symbol of spiritual enlightenment and individuation. Locking eyes with the boy opens up a connection with the self. Gazing through the windows of the soul, a thrumming fear consumes me. A fear of confronting my own thoughts, emotions, and unconscious aspects. I am terrified to learn what traumas may be illuminated in the depths of my shadow. Trying to soften the terror and avoid conflict, I am desperate to make the boy smile. But it feels fake, like I am trying to mask my true feelings, causing a psychological dissonance. A turmoil between my inner emotional state and my displayed emotion. It's seeming as if I am the one making the boy smile like he is a puppet, gives me the sentiment that we are one and the same, that we are connected universally by invisible threads. Grounding myself in the old wooden chairs provides comfort and establishes a place for learning. The concave seating arrangement creates a container of wholeness with the blue boy and myself at opposite ends of its poles. The boy's dominant posture and uneasy smile asserts itself over me. This is not a negotiation, but an intervention. His proclamation that the other two will find their way initiates the amalgamation of opposites, unbeknownst to me at the time, the beginning of my journey of individuation. To bring it all together, this dream came to me at a new beginning in my life, setting in motion an incredibly transformative process. I had recently established a group of friends, a new group of friends, genuine friends who for the first time I could really trust, friends that truly celebrated who I am. This was absolutely wondrous, having been bullied a great deal in my youth and my ongoing battles with depression. I also vividly remember telling my friends about this dream and the immense shift I felt it had invoked. It was also around this time that I started to come in contact with the mystical, where I began to explore Buddhism and Taoism with some conviction. Even though I would not begin my Jungian journey for another decade, for the first time I fully began to embrace the self, the shadow, and the sacred. It was often ugly, but just as often beautiful, transforming a terrified child into the man who now stands before you. I am still often terrified, but can now find peace in that and motivation to keep on growing, exploring the darkest depths and the brightest heights, always coming back to the center. I wish you all a deep sleep with insightful dreams.